All right, welcome back to Big B Sports Talk Podcast. Again, this is Brian Hanley. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bowl games and opt-outs. Whew. I tell you what, boy, it is a hot topic right now. It is trending everywhere. It's what everybody is talking about right now during bowl season. So let's dive in. Let's talk about it. And again, thank you guys for all the support that you have given the podcast. Remember, on YouTube, hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit the little bell for any notifications that will come your way. The podcast is everywhere that you get podcasts. So please keep supporting it. I appreciate all the support that you've given so far. We've changed things up. Just one is a brand new year. Wanting to send you guys some new stuff and make it fun. So I appreciate it and thank you. Now, diving into this bowl stuff, man, and these opt-outs, it's tricky. It is tricky. What I will say is that for the most part, teammates and colleagues, or I guess technically colleagues, but their teammates and friends, they're not upset. They're not mad that guys are opting out because they understand, you know what, it's for their future. Man, they're doing it to try to secure a bigger future, which there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can't play football forever. You want to make as much money as you can. You want to try to get drafted as high as you possibly can. There's no reason to not try to do that. So you opt out, not playing in a bowl game. Now, I know what everybody said. Well, if it was in the playoff, they wouldn't be opting out. And you know what? You're right. Because technically there's something to play for. Now, I know what everybody's first thing they're going to say. Well, there is something to play for and there's pride and, to finish the season. And all that is true. It's all true. And at the professional level, you're right. Guys still play to the end of the season, but they also get a paycheck. So there's that. So scratch that. The next thing is, or going back to that, there is pride, but in all actuality, they're trying to secure something that's better than pride. And what do we always say about pride? Pride can be an SOB. You need to swallow your pride sometimes. Well, this would be one of those times that not the player that's opting out needs to swallow their pride. Us as the fan, as the consumer, we need to swallow our pride because the player doesn't owe us anything, man. They don't. They don't owe us one single solitary thing. Nothing. And yet we act like they do. They don't. They don't owe us anything. They've played. They've done the best that they can. And now it's time for them to move on, and they're moving on. Nothing wrong with that. And one thing that we have to realize is, and I think that gets lost in this, the first thing, you can also enhance your status or enhance your draft status by playing in a bowl game. Kids lose sight of that first, because if you're a fringe guy and maybe you're a 5, 6, 7 rounder or may not get drafted, by playing well in your bowl game, that can boost you up. It can. It happens all the time. But the off chance that you end up like Jalen Smith and you go from a top 5 pick to a second rounder and you lose all that money is a real thing, man. It just is. And I know what people will say. Well, Jalen Smith signed a huge second contract and he's got millions of dollars. He was going to make that money anyway. But the one thing that I know that he still doesn't have function or all feeling in his foot and heel from that because he has nerve damage. He doesn't move the same, doesn't run the same like he did. None of that's the same. Oh, and also, he can never make that money back that he lost. Ever. He can never make that back. And I know what people will try to say, hey, don't count his money and how much millions of dollars he has because what he signed the second contract. That's fine, but he will never make that first round money, that top 5 money. He can never get that back, ever. It's gone because he got hurt in a bowl game. Kids know that, man. They understand it. And it's a real thing. And us fans, we got to stop being greedy. We got to stop being selfish and being mad at kids for trying to secure a future. That, to me, that's silly. It's just silly. And I understand being upset. I understand being frustrated. I get all of it. But you get on all these message boards and throw all this slander at these kids. Let me ask you this question. The Rose Bowl this year, Ohio State versus Utah. Ohio State had 2 receivers that didn't play. They opted out. Did anybody miss them? Absolutely not. You might say, well, Ohio missed them on the field. They had a receiver that had over 320 yards receiving in that game. Of Quarterback threw for come on, 6 touchdowns. Come on, what else were they going to do? Throw for 20 touchdowns? Give me a break, man. They were just fine. And it was great football. It was a great game and nobody missed them. Same thing with Notre Dame and Oklahoma State this year. Great football game. Also, in the Baylor-Ole Miss game, quarterback, top draft pick, he played, he got hurt. Now, it's not like a knee injury and he didn't break a bone or anything, but he did get hurt, sprained his ankle. Now, I don't think it's going to mess up his draft status, but what if the injury is just a little bit higher up on his leg? What if he breaks a leg? What if it's his knee? Now football's a dangerous sport. Don't get me wrong. Bones break, ligaments tear, that's part of it. But if you don't have to play in this one football game to be able to secure a bag of money that could be generational wealth that changes not only you, but everyone in your immediate family's life, why wouldn't you do that? Just think about your current job right now. If you could not go to work one day, take a sick day, where it hurts no one to secure a better job, everybody would do that. So why blame kids for doing this? You got to start putting things in perspective, people. You can't just act like, they're giving up on their teammates. They're not giving up on their teammates, okay? They're not giving up on their school. They're not doing that. And like I mentioned before, they don't owe us anything. They don't owe the school anything. They've done their part. They've already done that. They secured that obligation. And I tell you one thing, when they move on next year, you're still going to root for the team that you rooted for before. You're not going to change affiliations. I'm still going to root for K-State. I'm still going to root for Louisville. Of course I am. Just because a guy went to the pros and sat out the bowl game, fine. I'm still rooting. I went to Louisville's bowl game. I'm going to K-State's bowl game. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, man. You're going to root. So keep that in perspective. I think we lose perspective. We get so mad because we want to win every game. And I get it. I'm just as fanatic as the next person, man. I am crazy about my teams. I just am. And it's just the way I'm going to be. But that makes it fun. So keep it fun. Stop getting mad at these kids for doing that, man. They're not giving up on anything. They're not a bad teammate. What's wrong with people? I had a guy that was arguing with me, telling me how bad of a teammate he was. You know who a bad teammate is? Antonio Brown, who quit in the middle of a football game. There's a bad teammate. Okay? I don't want to hear whether he said he was hurt or not. That's a bad teammate. These kids that are opting out to secure their future are not bad teammates. Stop it. Okay? Just stop. I know we're frustrated by it. I get it.